till I came here.
Fallout 4. Wait, it's trying to do a robot voice. The Protectron. Fallout 4. I can't do it. You have to have like a normal sentence and then say like someone's name like an answering machine. Yeah, it's a good game. I didn't get into Fallout for the longest time. Like apparently it's been out forever, like in general, all the Fallouts, and one reason why I stayed away from it for so long is because when I first found Skyrim, I was like, this is Bethesda, this is what they do, this is what they're good at, their specialty, their strength. And as big as Fallout is, I'd still like to say Skyrim's probably still a little bit more popular than... It's tough though, because they're both so up there. But just things like threw me off, like the Pip-Boy, and it just looked kind of corny and cheesy, and I just couldn't take it seriously because I was so biased towards Skyrim. Like, that's how I look at things. I look at, what is this, you know, what does it do best? What else does it, not so much what else does it do, but I try to look at it in a natural approach. Like, hey, I found Skyrim, I found Bethesda, I found Todd. You know, when you get introduced to it like that and through a friend and all these things, as a kid when you're younger and someone who's never had an Xbox and originally saw it on a big TV, and I'm very influential. Like, people really help me like find things, and I get inspired and motivated by others, and you know, whatever it is that I can't find or do myself, it's nice to see that elsewhere and kind of learn from that or take something from it. And you know, because other people they're more likely and they live in the same world as I do physically or whatever, so like there might be a good chance that these, especially the friends, the people I put myself around, and I just assume like, hey, we have similar mindsets and all these things. But I've never once went to a friend's house, at least from what I remember. No one was playing Fallout. Skyrim was a hot big thing at the time, and I don't know all the specifics, but I assume at the very least 4 was about just as popular, slightly more underrated. I don't know. But I'm not even referring to 3 and 2 and 1 and New Vegas and 76 and all that, because like I really like 4. The gameplay's so good that it's smooth. I've seen 3. I've seen like watched games of that or footage and gameplay, and I'm just not impressed. It's either too old for me. 1 and 2 is like top down, like Fallout's cool, but that's going back a little too far for me, man. That's like 90s PC. I don't know. And then there's 3, which looks okay, and arguably one of the more fan favorites. But you know, it's funny when people shove 4 aside, because it's like, dude, it's so damn good. Like, I don't mind me a good story and all, but even if 3 has a better story, it's a game. It's not a movie. It's not a book. It's not a show. It's, you know, you're supposed to play the game, man. That's kind of the biggest kind of point of this stuff. Is like, yeah, a good decent-ish story can go a long way, but it goes hand in hand with how well does a game perform and what can you do in it and its capabilities, and it's an art style. It's a whole package deal. And 4 is just superior, like overall. So granted, I haven't personally played 3 or New Vegas, but I'm in the same boat as Skyrim versus Oblivion and Morrowind. It's one of those things where there is such a superior version. It covers so many, it checks so many boxes that you can't really deny its absolute power, and it rises so much above. It is the story combined with the music, combined with the gameplay, combined with the quality of life and the UI and the style and the color palettes and the direction and all these things. A story alone ain't gonna be, that's only gonna go so far. I mean, anyone can write a story, but obviously there's gonna be, when you're trying to make a full-fledged product, there's gonna be way more to it than just that, obviously. That kind of, I don't know, that thing drives me nuts because, you know, people they can't decide, like, do I like 4 or do I not like it? Like, make up your mind. It's good. That's all you need to know. It's not, you know, they get so caught up in the whole, like, and you'll hear it all the time. Play New Vegas, play 3 because it has a better story, but clearly Fallout 4 has better gameplay. Well, dude, that's a huge selling point right there, man. The most modern, the most available, the most kind of accessible, the most, you know, the latest entry into the series. That's kind of what you'd probably want to shoot for. Like, you don't need to play 1 and 2 and 3 in New Vegas to enjoy 4 at all. It's its own thing. You learn so much of it. There's so much content. There's so much in it. There's so much influence in the show now, because a lot of that, I assume, came from 4 specifically. The thing with 3, I know this has nothing to do with 3, but from what I've seen, it's like, okay, you're a kid, you grow up, I don't know, like Liam Neeson, that's fine and all, but I think it's just people's weakness of like, oh, you know, you start out so young and they relate to it because we all started as a kid and grew up as whatever. I don't know. I haven't seen enough to really put any of that together, but the New Vegas just seems so plain and dry and simple and basic and kind of boring and not really much to it. I'm just not really seeing the appeal here. When I see 4, I'm like, dude, everything's here, man. Dog meat, the wasteland, the guns, the melee, the setting, the towns, the people, the NPCs, the characters, the dialogue, even if we're talking, because some of these, Skyrim, for example, has a really iconic opening. Very memorable. So does Fallout, man. Fallout 4. You know, as a grown man or a woman, whatever, it's literally just like a movie, or in this case, a show. It's like, wow, everything is so innocent and pure and retro 50s and futuristic. This whole world you get introduced to, and then all of a sudden things kind of go to shit. You know, you got yourself a family, a kid, and a house, a perfect life, right? Like, it screams that era of time and history and the culture at the time. And it's just really good. It's mysterious. You don't know what's gonna happen next. You don't know where this is gonna go. You get very simple but explainable, complex things to start out with right off the bat. You know what's going on, you know who you are, what you're doing. It all kind of comes together really nicely, so there's no confusion there, and this is why, like, you don't have to play the other games to understand what's going on, because they tell it to you right then and there, which is great for, like, a new person like me. Yeah, the cutscenes are good.
Good morning! Vault-Tec calling.
Vault-Tec? Remind me again?
Why, we're about you, sir, and helping secure your future. You see, Vault-Tec is the foremost builder of state-of-the-art underground fallout shelters.
Yeah, I mean, this is so... I love movies like Blast from the Past, you know, nuclear radiation, the bombs, you know, the Cold War, the... It was a time before me, and it's interesting. I love, like, the history of war, and I guess just history in general, but I guess mostly war, to be honest. Yeah, you know, cryogenically frozen and betrayal and, you know, being underground and it's all pretty self-explanatory. It's not really, I guess, giving anything away, because, like, you kind of, odds are if you're getting into this game, you know exactly what you're getting into. And that's why it was hard for me at first, because I didn't really just know enough, like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. It's related to movies I like, it's kind of like a Chernobyl thing. You know, monsters and creatures, and you think of Godzilla, you think of the atom bombs and the hydrogen bombs, and I was like, wait a minute, this is actually kind of cool. What the hell? I can't believe I was missing out on Fallout for so long. Like, do I really regret not playing at the very least 3 or New Vegas? No, and I realize there's always an option to play that now, but I don't play on Xbox or PC, so that's kind of a different story, but you know, the whole Bethesda thing and PlayStation, oh, whatever. But I can definitely see where people are coming from, though. Like, yeah, if you did play those games back then, great, but not everyone did that. You know, not everyone is gonna be in that same, and even I have to understand that sometimes. It's like, not everyone is the same age as you, or they played games like you did, or when you did, or, you know, we've all been through different kind of scenarios. Like, back then, a lot of friends, a lot of games I've played today were because of friends I've had back in the day, and introduced me to these games and these worlds that I may or may not have found out for myself. But other than what I liked and what I knew I liked and found myself, and then whatever friends showed me, Fallout was just never really there. So I guess way later on I kind of had to find it for myself, which is kind of cool though, actually, because, you know, I don't regret it at all. This game got me through a lot of hard times. It was a time, a lot of when I played was when I didn't have, you know, an internet connection. This is one of the few games I played before streaming and taking videos more seriously and content creation as a whole, and I just got to kind of enjoy it, like every moment of it, and exploring and the adventure and the quest and being immersed. It's a very immersive game and open world, and, you know, your settlements and houses and power armor and your build and your clothes and your armor in general and your look and the interactions you choose to have with the NPC. Oh, it's just so good. It's a nice break from Skyrim. It's so good in contrast with Skyrim, because it's like, yeah, on one side you have this like medieval fantasy dragon, which is great, it works. But sometimes I might need a break from that and kind of do something a little more tangible, a little more, I wouldn't say modern, but just something different. It's really like the complete opposite of. This is why Bethesda is one of the most successful, gaming studios out there, man. It's because they know what they wanted to do. They did it. They did it well. You can't go wrong. It's just, it's right up there with Halo and all these legendary games. Like, it's crazy. I love all the like old-timey music and the themes of this kind of, I don't know, 50s, 60s, whatever, roaring 20s, I don't even know. Just kind of that whole old-timey vintage, it's just cool. It's like going back in time. It's cool because you're not only doing that, but you're also going into the future too. It's this very dystopian mix and blend of past and present, future. It's cool. I like that it's like one way to see the world or where it could go, or I like that, okay, let's say this whole thing actually happened. Which isn't good, but hey, you know what? You get to camp wherever you want, you get to do whatever you want, which, can be looked at as good or bad, but I don't know, when you think of like complete freedom and self-awareness, and it's a very hard thing to kind of do these days, and maybe you just need to like spiritually get away for a while, or take a break, or get to know yourself and who you are in nature. I don't know. In this game, that's all you're doing. You're out there in the wilds, it's raining. There's what do you call those, like sandstorms? Or it's funny though, because this is like the most coziest, disturbing game in the world. Like very violent, very scary. It's like you wonder what it'd be like to be in this world, but it'd kind of suck. It's kind of like it's no different than thinking of like a zombie apocalypse. Like, oh, it'd be cool, but it kind of suck, kind of thing. But it's just fun to imagine. That's a huge thing with me, is just having imagination, and having a creative mindset can really help too, because you can kind of really take it at kind of face value. Like, hey, the more I play this, the more I'm understanding it, the more I know what I'm doing, I'm comfortable. You can end up spending hours. I've spent 400 hours in one playthrough. It's so good to pass the time, or to just put on whenever, or if you're looking for like a big long game to play at one time, kind of binge it every day. There's so much to do, and it's so, the show really helped tie it all together and bring it back. And I do still want to play 76, but that's like a whole different story again. I'm really trying not to like, I want to slightly compare this to the other games, but not too much, because I don't want to take away from the fact that, I really do like, if there was only one Fallout game left in the world, I want it to be this one. You can always like replay it. That's what I've thought about doing, is like starting up a new game, especially with the next gen update version, and much smoother, much better experience. Gameplay is good.
What happened here? Where is everyone?
Yeah, you can get just so lost in it, and you just want to keep going and go further and get stronger and better, and it's just fun, man. The combat, it's so cool because like I love open world games, but some of them can be kind of hit or miss. With Fallout 4, as well as, if not more than Skyrim, to be honest, at least in this way, you just, it's the way to go. Like, you can't, you know, yeah, like, hey, if you're in the mood for something more fantasy heavy, obviously, probably gonna go over to Skyrim. But what's cool with Fallout is that it's fantasy-ish, and it's got that realism. So you're really getting the best of both worlds there. It's like a two for one, dude. Two for 2 in 1 game. That alone's kind of cool. Yeah, war never changes. Reminds me of like The Sandlot. Legends never die. Just, I never understood that quote either, because it's like such an iconic quote or something. But when I replayed the beginning of the game again recently, I was like, yeah, technically you have a point. War never changes, but neither do people or anything else. The only things that change is like technology and just time in general, and you know, the human brain is capable of a lot of things, man. Like, human evolution exactly hasn't ever changed either, but whatever. But I mean, I get it still, like, you know, we're talking military, we're talking factions, we're talking people divided and just not good things. But that's another reason why Fallout works so well, is because it has to do with these very militaristic kind of themes. And I think everyone at heart in their primal space is kind of susceptible to wanting to be closer to something that's so barbaric and so distinctive and very out there. You know, it's kind of weird though, because it is kind of that like human pinnacle experience. Not in a good way, not to glorify all that, but yeah. But hey, Fallout knew what it was doing. It knew what, you know, it set out to do and its goals and what it wanted, and that's what it did, and it did it well. It's cool with the power armor, you like half mech, half person. There's so many things to cover, it's tough. But yeah, with that newest next gen update, like on the PS5, it's so good and so smooth, and the frame rate and everything's so reactive. The hard time I had with the last version is especially after you put in so many hours and you're creating a huge game file and you have so much stuff, and the game really chugs, it really slows down, it looks choppy. You know, this game has problems. It crashes, it's buggy, it's glitchy, it's a Bethesda game. I haven't played enough of the new version to properly assess that completely, as opposed to like the PS4 version, but I will say when I did upgrade monitors, that did make a pretty big difference. So it was nicer, but it still didn't really change a whole lot, right? And especially if you're playing the PS4 on the PS5, the PS4 version on the PS, that helps. All these little, because I started playing this on the PS4 and you know, on like a little 1080p TV. It was playable, but man, it was rough. But this was also before, you know, the content creation kind of picked up, and back then I just kind of did it for fun and messed around, and yeah, this game was really just there for me when I needed it. It was also there for me when I had to like live in a hotel for like a month because of the normal place was getting renovated, and the only things I brought with me was my console and hooked it up to this nice big fancy TV and played it when I could, and it was kept me busy. And I think that's really important to have like a single player, not attached to online, multiplayer, matchmaking, PvP, live service. Just something you can really depend on to play as long as you have, you know, electricity and a TV to play it on. And this is one of those games that can really, you know, kind of make hard days a little bit easier. And it's just a good game all year round, summer, winter. It's cozy, it's comfy, relaxing, and chill. And I guess the only downsides, which are kind of small, but like it's not the most exciting game. It does have a very kind of baseline tone to it and feel and vibe. But that's the thing though too, whether you're tired, whether you're awake, whether you're a hyper person or low energy, or this game could just, it really hits all those things. And I only play in vanilla, I don't do Creation Club, I don't do mods, I don't play on PC. I just enjoy the game for exactly what it is, and I have more than enough of a good time, and I treasure and cherish the moments and memories this game gave me. You spend so much time in it. I spend a lot. The only other games I've spent this kind of time in are Skyrim and Destiny and things like that. The most I might play almost any other game, even if it is slightly openish world or whatever it may be. 100 hours, give or take. Which is like nothing really if you think about it, but it's still a lot of time, man. You know, it's your life, but yeah, no regrets. It hits all the things it needs to. It's satisfying. For how much this game can do, it does it so well. Like, this has better gunplay than most gun games, like FPSs and third-person shooters, and it's kind of like when you think of Grand Theft Auto, it has better like car handling and stuff than most other games, which is funny. Games that can do so much but specialize in something so small but have so much more of an impact than games that specialize in those exact things kind of fail in comparison. But yeah, it's just it's a good game. that's about it. Fallout 4.